A little late as always this morning, but it
It wouldn't
gives
be normal, right?
right,
Okay.
but it gives you time to get here and be a part of what God is going to do today. We're so excited. It has been an awesome week of ministry. Scott, what has happened here at Hydrant this
So
week?
this week we've had some exciting things happen. We've had some people come up. Just really an opportunity for us to be who we are and overflowing into our communities and those people that are all around us. We've had at least 3 families come up to the church this week looking for food. And because of you and your generosity, our food pantry has been able to feed these families and give them an abundance of food that they can last for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Now, there's a connect opportunity coming up this weekend. We are having our food pantry. It is every third Saturday. If you'd like to be a part of that, please see John Crocker. He and his team are doing a really good job of taking over that and making sure that families are getting their needs met.
Yeah. I heard that there are 30 turkeys sitting in our freezer right now, and there are
30.
more coming. So we're so excited. We're going to have some Thanksgiving boxes. It's going to be great.
So if you honestly, if you feel led to be a part of that and to help us fill those boxes, or even donate towards the food pantry. We're getting a little low on some things over there. Some of those shelves are getting empty, but we have had a really great donation this week to get us restocked. So please, if you're looking to be a part of that, please see John or Pastor Liz or myself. We'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah. We can't wait to worship with you. Scott's
Today,
got some great music coming. You can see the countdown is going. So stay tuned and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Hey, good morning, everyone. let's stand and worship. For all you've brought me through. You
don't know about you, but I feel God here. See, we need that reminder that God is not just this God who is out there and separate from us, but he is a God who is here and he is now, and he is your God. He's not just my God, he's not just somebody else's God, but he is yours. We have separated him from ourselves. Sometimes it's to protect us, sometimes it's because we're scared, sometimes it's just because we don't know if we fully believe. But those words, can we throw those words back up there? That is who you are. That is who he is. He is your God. Make it personal. He is my God, the God of the universe who created everything. He is your God, and he watches out on your behalf. So instead of a full prayer, we're going to sing that last thing again. And make that the cry of your heart. That is your God. God, that is who you are. Will you continue to remind us of that daily? In those days when we struggle, in those days where we have doubts, will you remind us that that is who you are? You are our God who has moved on our behalf. Is in your holy, holy, holy name we pray. Amen.
Wow, I'm not sure if I can top that with these announcements. That's something. Um, I'm going to try to do today. I'm on the microphone in the right place. I'm in the center of the stage, and I'm going to look at the screen some too in the camera. Hello at home, and hello to the church. What a week, like Liz said. We've got a lot going on. Thanks to everyone who has stepped up and gone with the reoccurring giving. With that being matched, we hope things are going to continue to perpetuate into better things. So thank you. And we have still a while to do that. If you haven't done it yet, Zoe will be available after service in the cafe to help anyone who wants some help doing that. We have food bank this weekend, and I just want to say a little bit extra about that. Friday, I had a first-time experience, and as you guys know by this point, I hope that this is kind of new, this role for me in the church. I was here Friday, a family of 11, 2 adults, the rest were children, ranging from 7 months on up. They were hungry. They were really hungry. And they walked by, and I spoke to them and told them they could play on the playground, and did not know that they had earlier in the day called because someone had told them about us being a pantry. So everything kind of was coming together. But it wasn't until late in the afternoon after I'd put a package of food together for them and a couple boxes and some things, and they got here and they were pushing a baby stroller empty with one of the young children to pick up the food. And I thought, there's no way, they can't carry that, even if it's just close by. Well, come to find out, it was over 2 miles away. When I dropped the food off to them, I don't know if they had electricity. So there was all this stuff coming at me. But what I want to convey to us this morning is just as God is the way maker, he has to make ways for us to be there when those people come to us. And so when you guys give graciously like you do to the food pantry, let's also think about the fact that I'm not sure these people could even cook some of the food that I had put in there for them. So we need to think about some things that maybe are ready-to-eat type products. But anytime that you can, please don't feel crazy coming by and dropping off a couple cans of corn on a Sunday morning. I'll take care of it. Or anything else that you can give, because I've seen it firsthand. It really, when we say feeding 111 on Friday, I felt like I was feeding a big part of 111. So thanks to you guys, and I'll leave it at that because I know everybody in here that I know and knows me, for me to say something about it, it's real now. So, and we're getting into a time where we're giving thanks for what we have. And it was tough. I had an event Friday night, and Nicole will tell you I was kind of edgy when I got back because I just could not think about, or help but think about those children and what was going on down there. So thank you guys, and I didn't mean to be a downer. And I'll see you next week.
Well, good morning. It already has been a powerful morning, and I can't wait to see what God does next because we've got some stuff in store for you this morning. But just to echo what Mike said, when we say we are feeding 111 South, we do literally mean it. There are people here right on this road who don't have power. Some of them may be undocumented. Some of them may be in a part of their lives where they are trying to claw themselves out little by little. And we want to be the church that is known for helping them and getting them to where they need to be. And so thank you guys. Thank you so much for the giving that you guys do as we go into the holiday season and you're shopping. Grab that extra can of corn. Grab that extra can of green beans and think about those on 111 South who are needing it and we're willing to walk 2 miles just to get it. So thank you guys so much for that. Today we finish our series on James, and I don't know about you, but I have loved this series. First of all, I've been able to be creative, and coming from a former children's pastor, that has fed my soul. You all may hate it, I don't know, but I'm loving it. But I have been challenged and pushed through this series, and I can tell you that so is our youth. Those of us who are youth leaders, we have been going through this series with our kids, and since they hear it on Sunday mornings, we come here and we just let them talk about it. We just ask them a couple of questions, simple questions, and let them unpack and digest what it is that God is teaching them. And man, they have taught us some stuff, haven't they? Yeah, this last week was amazing. In fact, we had fun games planned both times that we have had youth over this series, and we haven't gotten to them because we would rather sit in this room and talk and unpack what it is God has for us. And I think that's awesome. I love that we are doing that and that they are digging deeper into God's story that he has for them in this letter from Uncle Jacob. So I've been impressed by this. And so I challenge you guys as a family. You're in the car on the way home, as you're sitting around the table, whether you're in the car with just your spouse or significant other, if you're in the car with your sister or your brother, talk about this. Ask some questions, some really simple ways to start. Or what did you think about the sermon today? How did it challenge you? And what do you think you're going to do now that you heard it? Just super simple things that can get the discussion going and dig deeper into what it is God has for you. So James is a book written by the half-brother of Jesus. His real name is Jacob. It was just translated differently. And he is this wise uncle who guides us as we walk this long road of obedience that God has for us. Now, each week we've been doing a little survival challenge, right? And we have learned that we will not survive. It won't happen. There's nobody in here is going to make it, right? This is another challenge that we're going to do this week, and it's going to be an all-church challenge again, because I had fun with it last time. I hope you guys did. So last week we identified plants. This week we're going to identify bugs and whether we can eat them, all right? Just be glad I didn't order some bugs for y'all to eat, okay? Like, that was the plan, all right? That was the plan, but I was like, nobody's going to eat them. I'm going to waste all this money on these bugs. Michaela's going to be the only one that eats them, right? Like, no, Michaela said okay, you guys, Michaela ate like 7 grasshoppers one year for Fear Factor. So, like, she's like, no more. I'm done. All right, so let's identify some bugs. This first one happens to be a grasshopper. Can you eat it? Yes, Michaela's still here to tell the tale, right? Yes, all right. All right, next one. The common ant. This is very specific. The common ant. Can you eat it? How many says no? Scott, we already established you're going to die in the wilderness. Like, we already know you're going to die. Yes, you can eat it. All right, next one is slugs. Michaela says you can because her cat does, all right? Because her cat does. All right, how many of you agree with Michaela and her cat that you can eat them? How many of you say no? It is no, Michaela. Humans cannot eat them. They are toxic, all right? They are toxic. Next, grubs. All right, whoa, overwhelmingly yes. Dexter, you said yes the loudest. Have you eaten these? He probably has. All right, answer is yes, you can. You are correct. Next. Boom. I thought the same thing. Lion King, they ate them all the time. The dragonfly. What do you think? Yes? No? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So if you ever get starving, I have a lot of them in my backyard. You just feel free to come over, have a little dinner, and you'll be set. All right, next one. These gross me out so much, you guys. I hate these things. A cicada. A cicada. Can you eat them? Raise your hand, yes? Raise your hand, no? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. In fact, when we just had that huge brood that went off, it was all over like the news and everything, recipes. People were collecting these things to eat. I don't understand. I can't even stand the shell, you guys. Ask Zoe. If I'm walking up the ramp to the office and there's a shell, I'm like, Zoe, get it. Like, I cannot. I hate these things. They're so gross. All right, next. Sorry. Next, monarch butterfly. Scott just says, why would you do that? If you're starving, would you do it? It's too pretty. All right, who says yes? We'll eat the dandelion behind it. We learned that last week, right? All right, who says yes? Who says no? No is correct. In fact, if you eat these can cause cardiac contractions. Please do not eat these things. I had no idea. All right, last but not least, Scott chases me around with these things. I hate these things so much. The cockroach. Can you eat them? Yes. Dexter, have you eaten these too? All right. Yes? No? Ooh, Tommy says no in the back. Yes, in fact, they can cure illnesses. Yep. In fact, they can cure illnesses. Ooh, all right. I would rather die of the illness. I'm not going to lie. Like, whatever is wrong with me, just let it take me to the good Lord. Like, no way. So now that we're thoroughly grossed out and we know we will never survive, let's dig in a little bit deeper. How many of you are going to have nightmares about eating bugs tonight? I know I am. Like, I know I'm going to have nightmares. All right. Sorry, I get to talking and it goes. All right. So let's dig into James again. In James, we have gone through some pretty important lessons. First, we've learned about favoritism and love. that we have this tendency to care about those that can benefit us over those that may need us. We show favoritism in a lot of ways, but God has called us to love everybody. No qualifiers, no exceptions, to love everyone. But we as Christians have forgotten this. We're starting to remember. I'm seeing glimpses of it here and there. We're starting to remember, but overall, we've forgotten this. We've decided that being right, having rights, and getting what we want is better than loving those that are around us. And so we fight, right? We fight. We scream and we yell and we Facebook warrior it, right? We are constantly at odds with people. And the enemy loves this division. He loves it. Every time we fight, every time we call names, the enemy is like, yes. He loves the sideways energy that we put into being right. He loves that we fight over politics. He loves that we fight over anything and everything we can. Food at the grocery store. Black Friday's coming up. As a kid, I remember hearing about people getting trampled because of an item that was on sale. The enemy loves this, loves that we fight. Last week we looked at words, and this is one of the ways that we can definitely hurt people, right? And we definitely hurt people with this. And we have used words as a weapon. Thank you so much. We have used words as a weapon. But we know that words can either bring life or they can bring death. That our words can spark a fire, a great fire. And how we use them is important. How many of you caught yourself this week? Did you catch yourself this week with words? Yeah, I know I did. Yeah. It's so quick, right? It's so quick. I'll get angry at my mom or I'll get angry at the dog. And I'm like, oh, dang, I can't do that. I can't do that. So this week we dig in more as we head into the last 2 chapters of James. I promise it's over. There's no more. The last 2 chapters of James, chapters 4 and 5. And we take a look at this other lesson that Uncle Jimmy wants to give, or not Jimmy, Uncle Jacob. Sorry, Uncle Jacob wants to give us. Maybe I should take a drink. Maybe this is part of my problem. Did you spit in this? All right, we're going to take a look at wealth. How many of you ever been in a place where you've been jealous of somebody and what they have? Nobody? I'm the only one? All right, awesome, great, because we can go home. All right, some of the kids right there raise their hands. They're willing to admit it. We've been jealous, right? Come on. You've been jealous of somebody's house. You've been jealous of somebody's job. You've been jealous of somebody's car, especially when yours has, a broken hip like mine does, right? You guys, I named my, okay, right? I named my car Shakira because she has a broken hip. Yeah, come on, that's funny. You guys, that's funny. All right, so this weekend, I had a cousin come who I've not seen in 11 years. It's been a long time, right? 11 years. And this cousin and I were pretty close as kids. Our families were pretty close. Even though she lives 6 hours away, we'd see each other quite often. In fact, her parents are my godparents. Her dad is the one who helped me with my house stuff. And so our families were very close growing up. But over the years, we've moved away and moved on with each other. She has some kids. And now I didn't grow up with a lot of money, right? I didn't grow up with a lot of money. But Jen's family grew up with more money than I did. And I don't know if they were rich, but it seemed like it to me as a kid, right? It seemed like it. They had the coolest Nintendo in this room upstairs, this little loft thing, and we could go up there and play Nintendo and the N64, what was Nintendo 64? I don't know. I played it, but I don't know what it is. Anyways, she had this awesome game that we loved where you'd fly around as a fox, and we loved it. But I was so jealous of Jen. So jealous of her big house. She had a dog. I always wanted a dog. Maybe that's why I've had like 17 of them. I don't know. Maybe it might be why. I always wanted a dog, and Jen had Abner, and they were best friends. And when she turned 16, she got the coolest car. She got like this Thunderbird, T-Bird, red car that had like openings on the top. Oh, it was such a cool car. Mine was a rust bucket that literally somebody shoved hot dogs in the door. I was so jealous. That's not a lie. That happened, you guys. I have some weird friends. But I was so jealous of Jen growing up. So jealous. And I'd come home from Uncle Dan and Aunt Pam's, and I'd be like, Mom, please, can I get this? They have this. Come on, please, can I have this? Am I the only one who's ever done this? No? Okay. All right. You can relate to me a little bit more now? All right. So I would beg God to give me all the things. God, please make Mom and Dad rich like Uncle Dan and Aunt Pam. Please, 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 please. I really, really, really want it. Now, I had to admit, my heart wasn't pure. I just wanted to keep up and be as cool as Jen was. She was 2 years younger than me, but she was way cooler than me, right? So, it's kind of crazy. We were sharing some stories this weekend as we were driving home from the beach, and she was talking to me, and she said, remember this? You know how you guys always had all the really cool smelling stuff from Bath & Body Works? Now, if you know my mom, she loves Bath & Body Works, and she gets half of it for free. She's really a good couponer. So we always had the sparkly Bath & Body Works stuff, the cherry blossom, the moonlight path, cucumber melon. Oh, yeah. Yep, we had all of that, right? She goes, I was so jealous of you. Here I had spent my entire life being jealous of Jen. My entire life. Even when I was cleaning for her to come, I was cleaning. I was like, I got to make the house look perfect because Jen's had a perfect life. So ridiculous, right? So ridiculous. She said, I was always so jealous of all the cool stuff you got from Bath & Body Works. I was floored. I could not believe it. I'd spent my entire life being jealous of this girl, and here she was spending her entire life being jealous of me. Uncle James opens up chapter 4 with some pretty challenging words when it comes to jealousy. Chapter 4, verse 1 through 3, what is causing the quarrels and fighting among you? Don't they come from the evil desires at war within you? You want what you don't have, so you scheme and kill and fight to get it. You are jealous of what others have, but you can't get it, so you fight and wage war to take it away from them. Yet you don't have what you want because you don't ask God for it. And even when you ask him for it, you don't get it because your motives are all wrong. You want it only because it'll give you pleasure. Now, I never killed Jen, clearly. I definitely hit her over the head with an oar and locked her in our grandparents' creepy root cellar basement. Timer 20. Sorry, Uncle Dan, if you're watching, I admit it. But I never plotted to kill her, so I'm not that bad, I guess. See, we have this need to have what everyone else has. This pushes us to be overachievers, overwhelmed, anxious people that have no boundaries and waste away our lives worried about how we can make the next dollar to get the next cool item. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that we have to pay the bills. I know it's important to have a roof over your head. I know it's important to have a car and make it reliable. I understand those things. But instead of just getting the car that we need, we get the car that we want, whether we can afford it or not. We hoard money. We're constantly trying to figure out how we can get the next one, the next dollar, the next job. We skip out on things that are important. We miss out on life because we're constantly trying to make the next dollar. For some reason, we think it's the only thing that is going to bring us happiness. Once I get this, then I'll be happy. Once I get this, then I'll be happy. And if I get this, it'll be done. I promise it'll be done. But then something else comes. Somebody drives by with a cooler car. The newest iPhone comes out. I'm guilty of that one. This is the first time in 3 years I haven't had the newest iPhone. And so then we start to fight. We become jealous. We become envious of the people around us, and it makes us bitter and angry. Money has become a god to us. Uncle Jacob reminds us that life is too short to worry about money, to worry about these things. See, he puts it like this. Our life is like a mist. You know that fog that kind of lays over the earth sometimes? Or when you spray a bottle of water, it's like a mist. It's here for a minute, just a short amount of time. You see it, and then it's gone in the blink of an eye. That's what our lives are. That's literally how long we are here in the grand scheme of things. And if we spend all of it working and worrying about money, what kind of life are we living? A pretty miserable one. James 4:13-17 says, "Look here, you who say today or tomorrow we're going to start in a certain town and we'll stay there for a year, we'll do business there and make a lot of money. How do you know what tomorrow will be like? How do you know if you'll even be here? Your life is like the morning fog. It's here a little while and then it's gone. You ought to say if the Lord wants us to, we will live and do this or that. Otherwise, you're boasting about your own pretentious plans, and all such boasting is evil. Yikes. Remember, it is a sin to know what you ought to do and then not do it. Guys, our only goal in life is to do what God wants us to do. That should be the only goal. God, what is it that you want us to do? If he wants you to start a business and use it to spread his word and to help others and to give generously to his people, then do it. But if your motives for doing the job are only because you can make a ton of money, that's not a life. You're a slave to it. When I was 19 years old, I became a nanny, and I was making $500 a week, okay? Now, at 19 years old, that's a lot of money, especially when you don't have any rent, you have no car payment, barely had cell phones at that time, right? I could do whatever I wanted. I was living in this huge town, St. Paul, Minnesota. I was living 13 minutes away from the Mall of America. It was awesome. It really was. It was great. It was great to live in such a big town and to do whatever I wanted. 1 million people in that town, literally. I could go anywhere, do anything, see anything. I'd take my friends out to eat. I'd go to the store and buy my parents things. I could do whatever I wanted. I went to school full time because I was going to be a teacher. And you think that all that money and working towards this goal that I'd had for my entire life was going to make me happy. But it didn't. I was miserable on the inside. I would flash the money around like I was doing great. But on the inside, I'd go home and sit in my room by myself, waiting for the kid to cry so that I'd go pick him up. Raising somebody else's kids. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of rewarding things. It just wasn't what God wanted for me. See, the summer before I became a nanny, I was in a little schoolroom in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. I'd been in Bolivia for about a week. We ended up getting stuck there because the country was in ruins. All the airlines had shut down. There was like big riots and things in the community, and it wasn't safe anymore for Americans to be there. So anybody who was under 18 could have gotten out. The government would have gotten them out, but I was over 18, and so we stayed. Now, it was the most amazing experience of my life. The world around me was falling apart. But it was here in this little schoolroom that something amazing happened that changed my life. See, when I was in high school, you probably wouldn't believe this, but I wasn't a crier. I wasn't emotional at all. I prided myself in bottling it all up and keeping it all together. And so I was sitting in this little schoolroom, and they were starting to tell me about the work that people could do for God, that they could full-time teach and they could full-time do his work, and that they needed people to step up. And as the lady was talking about what they needed, I felt this overwhelming presence of God for the first time in my life. It was like it swept over me and started in my feet, and it went all the way up to my head, and I have chills thinking about it in this very moment. And I began to weep. I didn't just tear. It was more than that. It was weeping, sobbing. Because I knew in that moment God was calling me to something. Now, naturally, coming from a family of teachers, I thought it meant that I was supposed to go and get my teaching degree and then come back and work in Bolivia. Little did I know that that missions school that I was working in was through the Wesleyan Church. I'd never heard of the Wesleyan Church before that. And it was like God was starting to ordain my path, but I was ignoring it. I was running from it, 100% running from it. I didn't want to see all the little signs. But it ended up being that this was a Wesleyan church place. So when I got my first job in a Wesleyan church, and I was going to go and move to Bolivia, I wasn't going to be a pastor, God started to use people to call me into ministry. It was 4 years later that I met a lady named Heather Semple, who helped me to realize my call was something totally different than just teaching. In that time, I had gone to school for teaching, and I was miserable. You all know, I failed. I failed miserably at school. I was chasing after something that God didn't call me to, and if I'm being honest, again, I was running from it. I went from a nanny job that made $500 a week at 19 years old to a ministry job that made $500 a month. Can I tell you I was far more happy in my ministry job? Far more happy. I watched God provide in ways that I could never, ever, ever explain. I went on road trips on $500 a month. I went to Canada. I went to Niagara Falls. I went to Pennsylvania. We did a 16-state, 2-country road trip in 9 days. It was amazing. I never did any of that when I was making $500 a week because I was a slave to my job. I was miserable when I wasn't doing what God had called me to. James 5, 1-3 and verse 5 says, "Look here, you rich people, weep and groan with anguish because of all the terrible troubles you have. Your wealth is rotting away, and your fine clothes are moth-eaten rags. Your gold and silver are corroded. The very wealth you are counting on in your wallet is like fire. This corroded treasure you have and hoarding will testify against you on the judgment day." Verse 5, "You have spent your years on earth in luxury, satisfying your every desire. You have fattened yourselves for the day of slaughter, and you have condemned and killed innocent people who did not resist you." He's not talking just about money, but he is talking about money. The thought here is that if money is the root of all evil, then we have sinned so bad. We have forsaken everybody else, everything else, for this idea that if we just get what we want, whatever thing we feel like is going to give us status, whatever thing that is going to elevate us above everybody else, well, all of those things, if we could just get there, then we'll be better. But the reality is those things are going to rot away, and so are you. Those name brand clothes, those fancy cars, the things that you're in debt for, those things that make you look like you have your life together, but you really don't, those things aren't going to last. What is the legacy you are going to leave? That's the goal. Because honestly, seriously, none of you are going to leave $1 million for your kids. None of you are going to leave fancy cars and a closet full of Gucci. None of you are going to do that. It's just the reality. But you can leave a legacy of faith, a legacy of someone who has chased after God and done whatever it is he has asked you to do, who has believed that God could do anything and led everyone to know him. You can leave that legacy. Jacob goes on to say that we are called, brothers and sisters, to live life daily waiting for the Lord's return, daily waiting for who he is and what he will do, to leave a legacy of faith and hope, to have patience as we wait for the harvest that God will reap. It's not going to be easy. Waiting and patience is never easy. How many of you have ever asked the Lord for patience? If you haven't, don't. I promise you, don't do it. But it's one of the ways we honor our Father who has suffered on our behalf. If he suffered the way he did 2,000 years ago, then we can suffer now. If he can do that for us, then what are we going to do for him? Now, please don't hear me asking each one of you to take a vow of poverty. None of us are Mother Teresa, though that was always my dream as a kid. I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out and work and that you shouldn't provide a life for your kids. But I'm saying if you don't ever see your kid, you don't ever see your spouse, the money's not worth it. Because if you really admit it, you're miserable. What are you pursuing? Who are you pursuing? What are you spending your time on? What are you chasing after? Are you chasing after something that really is making you miserable and is not going to get you there? Are you chasing after something that is going to leave a legacy for those around you? Something that's going to make you feel alive and worth something? Are you leaving a legacy of hope for your kids, your neighbors, your friends, or your family? Or are you killing yourself in a dead-end job that really, if you left, they'd never know it? Jacob says that this life is going to be hard. That changing your perspective on all of this is going to be hard because the world has pushed us in this direction. It's told us this is what matters. This is how you have arrived. When you have all the money, that's when you've arrived. Leaving a legacy of faith and hope is going to be hard. You will be judged, you will be pushed, you will be challenged, but this should lead you to a life of prayer. Instead of chasing after those things, chase after God. Go to him and pray with him. Jacob, can't get names right. Jacob closes his letter to all of us with a simple reminder. Are any of you suffering hardship? You should pray. Are you happy? You should sing praise. Are you sick? You should call for the leader of your church to pray for you. Such a prayer offered in faith will heal the sick, and the Lord will make you well. And if you have committed any sin, you will be forgiven. Confess your sins to each other. Pray for each other so that you may be healed. The earnest prayer of the righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results. Prayer. It's the answer to everything, and it should be the response to anything. I've talked to a couple of people before service, and they're going to come up and they're going to join me. They're going to stand right here, and they're going to be available to pray. We're going to end this service a little different than we normally do. But it says, go to your elders. And these people are the elders of our church who pray for you on a regular basis, who are here for you to confess, to ask, to do whatever it is you need to do. And so as you guys can come up, those that have asked, you guys can come on up, just standing right here. We can turn on some pads. You can come up and you can confess as little as or as much as you want. You can talk about as little or as much as you want. But I invite you to come up and be prayed over. We'll be standing here waiting for you. We'll spread out a little bit. Some on the stage, some on the, it doesn't matter, wherever you want. Some on the stage, some just spread out so that nobody else can hear. But come and receive the prayer that Jacob was talking about, that prayer that heals, that prayer that can eliminate sin, that prayer that can change and restore your life. And we're just going to end with that. We're not going to have a big thing. We will have some people that are going to serve some cookies on your way out, but just as you feel, come up and be prayed over and then walk out. If you're online, Zoe is there. She is ready to pray with you. You can also private message our Facebook. You can private message me. You can call, you can text, whatever it is that you need to do. We are here for you, even online. But take this moment to be prayed over so that God can start the restoring work in your life. You guys can